Hey there, how you doing? It's taken me 17 years of riding and working on the 2026 Etape du Tour roads to understand their real difficulties. Over the next few minutes, I'll break down what this route looks like on paper and how it feels in reality. This is it, the toughest Etape du Tour yet, 2026, 170 kilometres, 5,400 metres of climbing, and a finish via the controversial Col de Sarenne. On paper, it's beautiful, Croix de Fer, Télégraphe, Galibier, Sarenne. But the high mountains always have a way of testing every rider. And for those watching closely, you'll notice the real challenge isn't just the climbs, it's the order, the descents, and the moments where you think you can rest, but you can't. The Etape du Tour 2026 starts in Bourg and finishes in Alpe via the Col de Sarenne. Accommodation is available in both locations, if you can find it, and riders staying in Alpe can even descend to the start, though mornings are often chilly, so it's wise to bring an old jacket to discard before the flag drops. For those in the valley, the ride back down at the end of the day can be equally cold, but is probably the better way of doing it. Okay, Alemon, fast and flat. On the Etape du Tour 2026 route map, this section looks easy. But with a full peloton, positioning is crucial. The pace doesn't let up until you reach the dam at Lac de Verney. Don't get caught up in the excitement, pace yourself, it's going to be a long day in the saddle. So here comes the first climb of the day, up to Rivière d'Alemon, the opening section of the Col de Fer. Steep and relentless, it quickly tests your legs and pacing strategy. Early overexertion can have consequences later. If needed, you can grab some water here from one of two permanent water fountains. After a brief and beautiful descent, the road bikes again up to the Grand Maison Dam. This short but beautiful steep section is the toughest of the morning so far. It's a place where riders discover the importance of pacing and self-control. Beyond the dam, the road flattens briefly before the final push to the summit. The Croix de Fer climb profile shows 27.6 kilometres to the top at 2,064 metres. On paper it seems manageable, in reality it's a test of both legs and nerves. Great, you've made it to the top of the Col de Fer. But from the summit it's a long technical descent. Narrow roads and tight corners demand full focus. Alone this section can be exhausting. Headwinds, tunnels and a few deceptively steep ramps and tricky surfaces means making a mistake here could be costly. The town of Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne is not particularly pretty, but there are plenty of shops, cafes, etc. for emergency rations. Okay, you've made it down to Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne. The road flattens slightly, but the fatigue of the earlier climbs will already be noticeable. The valley stretch is where your Etape du Tour pacing strategy becomes crucial. Ride in a group if you can, and avoid unnecessary efforts. It's uphill all the way to Saint-Michel-de-Maurienne through an industrial landscape. If you are finding this Etape du Tour 26 film useful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want a free digital map with the routes outlined, permanent water stops, supermarkets and cafes, leave a comment below. Okay, what's next in the Etape du Tour 2026? The Col de Télégraphe, a 12 km steady climb at an average gradient of 6.8%, summiting at 1,566 metres. A wide skied road and consistent gradient makes it feel comfortable. But with headwinds and possible rising temperatures, energy management remains essential. For your information, there are permanent water fountains at the bottom and the top of the climb. Okay, once at the top of the Col de Télégraphe, you will descend briefly down to Valloire. This is a short descent, allowing a moment to eat, drink and prepare for what's ahead. Cobbles through the village demand attention, but the biggest challenge is just beyond. And here it is, the highest climb of the Etape du Tour 2026, the mighty Col du Galibier. 17 kilometres averaging 6%, 2,642 metres above sea level, with sections spiking to 10 or 11%. Above 2,000 metres, altitude effects start to bite, and even experienced riders feel the legs and lungs screaming. Past the Marco Pantani Memorial, the final kilometre feels endless. It's a true alpine test, worthy of Tour de France history. Okay, you've made it to the top of the Galibier, hopefully the weather is good. Descending from the Galibier summit to the Col de Lautaret, the road can be cold and exposed. Fast sections and narrow bends demand caution. Fatigue and weather make concentration essential here. Enjoy the descent, but beware you still have a long way to go, and any mistakes could have a big impact on your day. You've dropped down onto the Col de Lautaret from the Col de Galibier. From the Lautaret to the base of the Col de Sarenne, there are long tunnels and fast roads. Headwinds are common, and lights and concentration in the tunnels are essential. Group riding is a major advantage here. Going solo can be exhausting. Amongst the tunnels there are a few climbs, and once you hit the bottom of the Sarenne, brace yourself for a steep switchback ascent to Maurienne. So cycling through Maurienne, you are already on the Col de Sarenne, the near final climb. The beautiful but delicate Col de Sarenne stretches 12.7 kilometres to 1,999 metres. Exposed, beautiful and deceptive, it's not just a gradient, it's where it comes in the sequence. With permanent water stops, it's a climb to be respected and a place to carefully save some energy for the finish. Wow, you've made it to the summit of the Col de Sarenne, but your climbing is not over yet. After the Sarenne summit, a narrow, patchy descent leads towards Alpe. The climbing is not, unfortunately, over. A final push brings you to the finish, a quieter but no less challenging approach compared to the famous 21 bends. Precision, pacing and concentration are everything here. There will be a lot of tired cyclists on the road. With over 5,400 metres of climbing, the Étape du Tour 2026 is arguably the hardest route in recent memory. Not one climb, but the sequence of relentless ascents and demanding descents. Plan carefully, pace yourself and respect those alpine roads. If you'd like a free digital map with the route outline, permanent water stops, supermarkets, cafes, etc., leave a comment below. And finally, don't forget to subscribe for more videos exploring the cycling in the French Alps and further afield.